Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today, after the old day job, I am off to check out the new horror film, Longlegs, directed by Oz Perkins and starring Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage. This movie tells the story of an FBI agent who's searching for a serial killer and has to use different occult clues in order to find this person, or thing. This is a horror movie that I have been anticipating since the beginning of the year. I am really excited to see this film because it looks like the kind of slow burn, spooky, creepy, dread-filled horror film that I enjoy. So you know what? It's enough of me sitting here yammering on. First off, I got some work to do, and then I am off to check out Longlegs. Well, that was a hell of a thing. Let's get this started, shall we? Now, normally I have negatives and positives, but this time around I don't have any negatives, honestly. But I do want to say one thing, and I'm myself included in this. This film has been compared a lot to Silence of the Lambs. I've heard a lot of people say that, oh, here we go again, another Silence of the Lambs type film. No, this movie has no similarities, except for the fact that we have a female FBI agent and a serial killer mystery, and that is about it. The similarities stop there. This movie is definitely its own unique thing, and I absolutely enjoyed this film. It has an absolute just vibe feeling of dread from the beginning of this film to the very end of this movie. And as the mystery and story, unfolds in front of our eyes, you are just filled with attention and suspense and atmosphere throughout this entire film. The mystery of this movie is pretty solid. It took me a while to kind of figure out where things were going. And the movie can be considered a slow burn to some folks, but to be perfectly honest, the investigation aspect of this film is going to keep you interested enough. You don't need non-stop just gore and violence. Now, the gore is there. There is definitely some bloody and some extremely gooey, gory scenes in this film, but this movie doesn't rely on that for horror. The horror of this film is the atrocities and just the entire tension and suspense, atmosphere, and dread that you feel throughout this entire film. This movie does not rely on jump scares. I don't recall one jump scare throughout this entire film. I'm hypersensitive to jump scares, and I was on this film the entire time. I was soaked in. I could not take my eyes off of the screen if I tried. I just had to see where things were going. Now, the acting in this film is also just outstanding. Micah Moore and Nicolas Cage are amazing. Micah Moore plays the FBI agent, and Nicolas Cage, I'm not going to say anything else. Let's just say Nicolas Cage does an amazing job. This is one of those films that could easily find itself at the Oscars even with this being a genre film. Now, they're going to call it one of the elevated horror, or, you know, a suspense thriller. No one wants to call it horror, because anytime someone starts throwing freaking awards at a horror movie, for some odd reason, they have to give it some normal name. It can't just, or some abnormal name. It can't just be a horror movie. It has to have some reason why it's so damn good. And you know why this movie is so damn good? Impeccable writing, amazing directing, and a really stellar cast. Now, this film is a very character-driven story, and it also has some absolutely amazing cinematography. I love the camera work in this film. There's some really great moments where they use the camera itself and shots in order to really drive home that atmosphere that I was talking about. There's a lot of really great over-the-shoulder type shots that I absolutely love if they're executed properly. This film is great. And what do I expect? What don't I expect? So Oz Perkins, or also Osgood Perkins, he is the son of Anthony Perkins. So let's say, yeah, the man knows his way around horror, and he lets it show off in this film. So guys, let me tell you right here, right now, I'm going to say this, even if you are not a fan of horror movies, if you can stomach a little gore, but if you're not a fan of horror movies, this is a non-horror movie fan movie. You will enjoy it. You'll have a great time. It doesn't have a lot of those, tropes and everything that all of us horror fans absolutely love, but most cinema goers are like, oh, here we go again with this crap. Not found in this movie. It is going to keep you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end. Guys, this is a solid get out there. Check this film out in cinemas pronto. Alright guys, well that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for checking out The Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna. God, I just need to scrub my brain with a sponge or a brush or something. God.